He's a pussy.
You think?
He's a pussy. So I looked at all my numbers, and the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Stern is exactly identical to that week, the week after, the week. There's no, like, you're going to bump for me talking about you. Like, nobody's researching every word you say. You fucking idiot. God, you self-absorbed moron. It's not even his fault. He's too big for too long. He doesn't have a realistic view of the world. He drives in his limo from his mansion to his office. He doesn't even know what the neighborhood looks like. It's not his fault. He's no longer relevant. He hasn't seen what a subway looks like. He talks about the subway, and he's just guessing from 1970. He has no clue.
In defense of him, they haven't. I don't think they've changed much.
Yeah.
The Todd Shapiro Show. They're just riding Howard Stern's coattails.
Hey now.
The Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Laughs. SiriusXM Channel 168.
Do you feel that?
We're on SiriusXM with Adam Carolla. Of course, Ari Shaffir is joining us. And we're live in the Carolla studios. Adam Carolla, I know you got to run do your own podcast. But before you go, I think it's actually really interesting that we have Ari Shaffir and Adam Carolla, the pod father. Really, 2009, you start the Adam Carolla show after suddenly it just ends for you, I believe, on CBS radio, right? Mm-hmm. The reason why I bring it up is you're friends with Howard Stern. I know you had your beef with Howard Stern, Ari Shaffir. Where do you see radio going? Where do you see it in a decade from now?
I don't know. I
think
know
it's going to bottom out?
I don't see. My whole thing with everything is like, if you have a voice and it's a unique voice and you get out there and exercise it on a regular basis, there'll be a place for you to go. I don't know what it'll be. Look, my kids, somebody just announced there's no more CDs. I remember when there were no more records and no more 8-tracks and no more mixed cassettes. Now there's no more CDs. But does that mean there's no more music?
Right.
It just means no more CDs. So maybe there'll be no more terrestrial radio. Maybe it won't make sense. But it doesn't mean all you guys are out of a job. It means, no, the guys with a voice still get a job.
Go somewhere
as
else.
long as they can do it, as long as there's a microphone, as long as they have a joke or an opinion, as long as there are people that are listening, then they will have it. And as far as the future goes, I'm not, my feeling is, instead of sitting around trying to figure out what the future has in store for us, I have a much more effective plan. How about you get up every day and bust ass?
Yeah.
Just work your balls off.
Then you ensure the future is a happy future for you. Instead, we're all sitting around like prognosticating.
Yeah, trying to be the first to the next social media thing.
Just get up and go to work. Just get up and bust your hump every day. And I bet you the future, whatever business you're in, I bet you the future will be pretty bright.
It's
also,
funny.
Also, that's the joy of it is you want to be bigger and stuff and make more money, but the reality is you just want to be able to be a free expressionist,
right?
And have freedom to just say what you want on whatever. And
Yeah,
once you get that, you're golden.
I heard a bit of the Stern stuff with you, Ari, and I thought it was really cool that you kind of went at it with him. I got to be honest, because he is the king of all media. That at least that's my opinion.
What's the word "all" mean to you?
Well, okay, I look at a guy who did it traditionally and did it really well, and has had a massive amount of audience for the longevity that he's had, and he's brought it to a different level. And I'm grateful as a radio guy being in the game.
Was this over him saying podcasting's zero or whatever it was?
Yeah,
It's just a lot. He's just sort of irrelevant.
Oh, a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got, when a lot of people tweeted me, hey, your buddy Howard just said podcasting's
it's for idiots.
It's like when people say, it's like when Bernie Sanders says, if you're white, you don't know what it's like to be poor. I go, oh, sure, of course I do, you idiot. I grew up poor. But I don't write Bernie a letter. Like, I don't feel personally attacked. If Stern goes, podcasting's for losers, I just think to myself, A, that's his opinion. B, I don't think of myself as you can't get me
to be a loser.
By your opinion. It doesn't. It's like somebody. It's like you cut in front of someone and they yell, "Fuck off, fat ass!" And you go home and you get in a fetal position in the tears. No, that's their opinion at that moment. I don't feel like he's talking about me. And as a matter of fact, when somebody goes, podcasting for losers, you can't make any money doing podcasting, there's nothing there, it's an empty bag, I go, well, I'm doing really well.
I got 30 fucking cars back there.
I got 30 cars back there, so I feel like more of a winner
I guess.
because I'm achieving in the thing that you're not supposed to be able to achieve in.
With you, Ari, and with you, Adam, I love the fact that you're evolving a medium, and really that's what it comes down to. And you have a voice, you have strong content, and granted, you have bigger things supporting you, which is great. And back in the day, the Man Show, Loveline, all these things that got you terrestrial radio. And I honestly, Adam, I think what you've done in your career is beyond phenomenal for a very average guy. You're a king. You're the king.
I never think about about it. It feels like nothing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Next
Thank
time
you.
we'll do it longer.
Yeah, and thank you for letting us use your studios today. AdamCarolla.com. Thanks, man.
Good to see you, Ari.
Can I take the Lamborghini first, man? Yeah, he's like, no, not a chance. Okay, Adam Carolla, everyone. Ari, we got a good hour. The thing that I liked that Stern said, and it wasn't to give credit to how hard people work to make it happen for themselves, but it was the fact that it helps when you have a little bit of a push from like a Rogan or, in my case, I couldn't do any of this without SiriusXM. Like, I don't think Carolla would let me in his studio if SiriusXM wasn't on my headset, whatever, on my microphone. Yeah. So none of us are bigger than the brand. Is that fair to say? The brand being,
I mean, yeah, you need pushes.
Like Comedy Central or
Mark Maron got a big push when they put a New York Times piece about it.
But
going on like the Tonight Show and stuff, it's all just publicity. So what do you mean? Like,
well, I guess Stern's point was it was that like if it wasn't for guys that didn't help out other comics, that they wouldn't be as successful. Do you believe in that? That's all I'm asking.
Oh, that seems like an irrelevant argument. Like if it wasn't for jobs being available, no one would work. So it's like, oh, I guess. But that's not what anyone thinks about when they go to work.
So is that a bullshit way
of
thinking?
Comedians support each other. It's been a great time for comedy. We're all really supportive. We can send a tweet like, hey, this guy's going to be in Tucson. Go watch a show. But, like, doesn't mean we wouldn't do it without it, or we have to somehow stop what we're doing and say, just so you know, this only works because other comedians are helpful. It's like, I don't know. That's a system we set up. Without comedy clubs, they'd have no place to perform. But in the 70s, comedy clubs boomed. But I don't stop what I'm doing and go, well, we have to give it up for the innovators of comedy clubs. There's nothing to do with what I'm doing.
So it's not about the people who sort of pave the way for all of this to happen.
Oh no, I mean when Carolla fucking left, when he left radio and they said you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And podcasts were already out; they just weren't popular. And then he goes, "Okay, well, I can do something on the internet." And then people are like, "What is this?" I mean, that was a big boom for us. But so is a boon having Mark Maron have Obama on his podcast. That helped all podcasts.
100%.
Because I read a stat that said like something like 15% of people had even heard of podcasts before. And only like 5% had listened to it in America. And this was like 2 years ago. So now all these people are like, wait, podcast, what's that? And they'll find me. One of those people that found Mark Maron through Obama will find me, and I will get one new fan.
No question. When you and Stern had the big beef going,
there's no beef. I just think he's irrelevant.
You think he's irrelevant, though?
Yeah, he's irrelevant.
I mean, to be honest, you're jumping on my show on SiriusXM, and I'm not defending SiriusXM, but obviously you think I'm a bit relevant.
His style of radio is past. Things he reveres is past. Him calling himself the king of all media, it's like, hey, guys, guess what? We don't even think kings are good anymore. The bragging about the money is like that comes from an 80s time when you only cared about money. But now people care about friendship and going on walks in the woods. The stuff you care about is no longer relevant. Bob Newhart can have his fans that are 70 years old. That doesn't mean they're relevant. And he goes, I make more money than you. It's like, you know who else does? Elvis Presley today makes more money than I do. He's not a relevant artist, but he makes a lot more money than me. Still.
I guess the point I was going to make is that would make me extremely relevant. I mean, like if you're saying Stern is irrelevant, because at some point he still has a big audience. He still entertains every day. He still signed a 12-year deal, obviously, because they're making profit through that and they're getting out to people.
Some profit on. But here's the actual reality. I mean, I've talked to people inside at Sirius.
Okay.
Adam Carolla gets more listens than Stern does. They won't reveal the information.
Well, we don't really measure SiriusXM shows. It's interesting. They don't actually measure.
Oh no, they do. They're not sharing it with you.
I wish
they would have to pay you fairly. And Howard Stern stands for not paying people fairly. He stands for anti-free speech.
Define that.
Okay, when O&A had a problem, when people were coming down on them because a homeless guy made statements, just the freaks people have on their radio shows. So one of the freaks made a statement saying, Condoleezza Rice, I would hold her down until she loved me, or I would kiss the queen until she loved me. And people go, that's rape. You're talking about rape, and it's like, no, they're making fun of a homeless guy's ideas. And Stern, being the harbinger, the hero of free speech, of course he comes out and goes, guys, I don't like those guys, but obviously they should be allowed to say whatever they want. That's when you like a guy like Stern. But he doesn't say that. You know what he says? They went too far. He's a pussy.
You think?
He's a pussy. And he's so self-absorbed. He won't let his other people on his show do reads. No, I make the money, not you. The anti-free speech, though, that's the number one thing I hate about him. He's this guy who's set up to say it's all about saying what you want, and then he actively tries to get other people censored. Fuck that, man. Listen, I've had people say, I'm going to talk about you on stage, and go, well, it's not my right to tell you anything to say on stage. That's the only sacred thing. Stern doesn't believe that.
You're 42 years old.
Yeah.
So Stern in his huge prime and
he's had a great career.
Hang on. Let me finish my thought. Do you think part of that maybe with him doing America, what was it, the America's Got Talent? Hang on, let me finish. Or I think just evolving and kind of growing and maybe becoming more of a compassionate human being, he would be a little bit more worried about saying certain things that would actually be.
His interviews are no longer hard-hitting because he's too polite. He's also now a kiss up to celebrities. Instead of before, he's like, let me get to the heart of it. Now he's like, I just want you to like me.
But is there a bit of a contradictory statement in what you're saying? Because earlier you said how people want to kind of feel good about themselves and help one another and go on walks together. You're kind of painting a picture of it more of a euphoric, like we're living in trees and we're all in a great place. And
he
we're
can
all
still help people. When people say, like, how can you say that he's irrelevant? Look what he's done. It's like, well, how can I say Kobe Bryant's not good when he's won 12 All-Star games? He's like, yeah, but he's shooting 35% from the field this year. That's how I can say he's not good. With Stern, with people like that, it's like, yeah, they've done great stuff. For him to have a career up to, 47, 48, that's amazing. You know? What he did as a career is amazing. But now his presence angers us. The way Leno.
When you say us, who comedians?
No.
Who's us? People?
Most people between the ages of 15 and 45, 50.
So would you say that, guys
they get mad by his presence. The way Leno made us angry, but now that he's retired, he's kind of gone away. People are like, oh, yeah, Jay Leno. We like him. But when he was still on, it's like, get the fuck out of here.
He didn't relate.
Yeah. Your irrelevance angers people.
See, for Leno never angered me. I just didn't get Leno. Yeah, I got it. She's there. I didn't get. I felt like my dad would like Leno, and that was fine.
Yeah, he stayed on too long.
With Stern, though, you got to think that he still has a younger audience, and he still, like this new deal he signed is about getting in the digital world and that space. So he must understand that it's an important place to be.
The digital world?
Yes.
Honestly, I don't know what he understands. He's a 62-year-old Jewish man. What he understands is of no value to me. He's someone who, at his face, I would never look to for advice. He used to be a different person.
But is
his wife, whatever? Yeah, sure, he grew up, but he's no longer that guy.
Do you think you might ever grow up?
What he is now? Yeah, of course I will, and I'll become irrelevant. To think that I wouldn't be is ridiculous.
So I think that's a fair statement.
Of course I'll lose my touch. He's lost his touch.
Or has he lost a touch with a younger audience?
The stuff he did, he would introduce me to bands and comedians that I never heard of now. But now this is one of the things he said that time. He goes, oh, I'm not relevant? You know who I know? Jerry Seinfeld and Chris Rock. I'm like, dude, those are from the 90s.
But Chris Rock did host the Oscars.
I mean, like,
doesn't get any more fucking relevant than that.
If this is your example of what's relevant, people that got big 20 years ago, and he goes, I'm going to interview Madonna tomorrow. And it's like, Madonna? What are you talking about? That's been more than 20 years since she was like, she's bigger than ever, but no one cares about
the last time someone jerked off to Madonna? No.
It's like she's done being the thing she was. Feminist icon. Like, that's over for her now. She's just an old lady doing pop songs.
So Ari Shaffir, who is it that you talk to on the Skeptic Tank, or who is it that is more relevant? Who's more hitting this audience of
people that are doing stuff right now? It's like when you go see The Who. If you go see The Who, you're like, you could be like, wow, I got to see them, but you didn't really get to see them. You just have to see them some shell of a band. When you should have seen them is when they first played CBGB's, their first trip to New York in America. You'd be like, wow, I was there. It was amazing. So what you want to see is that next band. Not some old. You don't want to see the Rolling Stones.
I saw a band called Black Pussy the other night. I thought they were a great band.
There you go.
Yeah,
and if they become massive, you're like, I saw them when they were hungry.
That's pretty cool.
Viper Room's a great place to see music.
But who is
not the Anaheim the Grove, where it's fucking 20,000 people there. It's like everybody knows about these people.
It's kind of cool though to still go. And it can be nostalgic too, right?
There's always these bands where you get into them for a while, and then that's awesome album, and then for whatever reason, oh, now you guys aren't good anymore. And it's just like you're still putting out albums, but nobody cares anymore. No, that's what I mean. The lack of,
or you're relying on at least those older hits and stuff.
Yeah, and there's some people Stern's age that are relevant.
Like who? Well, actually, back to the original question: who's relevant now? Like, who should we know? And maybe we do know. Maybe we've already interviewed them and stuff.
Yeah.
But that you like to talk to, that you think
the relevant comedians of today: Louis, Bill Burr, guys like Kurt Metzger, and lower level guys like Jay Okerson and Tom Segura. Like, those are the people that we all as comedians envy. Like, those are good. What you look at for a Jerry Seinfeld is like, wow, your career was awesome. But we don't really look to him for, like, what's he doing on stage these days?
So Seinfeld jumps on
what's his new technique?
You do the Comedy Store a lot. I've hung out at the Comedy Store. I've hung out at the Laugh Factory. I haven't been to the Improv yet. I plan on going there. Last night at the Comedy Store, Jerry Seinfeld jumps up on stage.
Yeah.
So when I see this on Instagram, my buddy Craig Gass was there. I guess Chris D'Elia, who I know, was there. Yeah. They were all kind of, did you think that was fucking cool or no? Because you were there last night, too.
Well, yeah, he had never been there. I didn't see him. I came after he was already gone. But he had never been there. But he was a regular before. I mean, his picture was up on the wall. His name's on the wall. He just hadn't been there for 25, 30 years. He was hanging out with Sebastian, and then he went on. It's cool that he went. He didn't do a long time, which is also awesome.
Was he funny? Oh, you didn't see
I
it.
didn't see him.
Did you hear? Was he good?
Well, whenever a celebrity like that comes in, people immediately go like, "It was awesome."
Yeah,
I've heard too many stories of comics that are like great comics that have been through like a good 3, 4 to 10 year like bad period where it's like, "Oh, you're not very good," but people come out of their shows going, "That was awesome,"
Just to say.
because their feeling was they got to see him. It's kind of like going to see Tom Petty. We're like, that was awesome, but it wasn't as good as when he was doing Full Moon Fever.
Yeah, and he was all plastered or whatever. But
Yeah, exactly. You know,
does age crush us? Is
well,
that what it is?
It takes you away from having a finger on the pulse. You know, I find dating young women helps me like fucking stay into it.
Cool.
I would never know who Fetty Wap is without hanging around with people who know who he is.
So you hang out.
Yeah, Stern used to introduce me to like really cool bands and stuff. That like I never Soul Coughing. Remember the band Soul Coughing?
I actually don't know them. Okay.
They were great in the 90s.
Okay.
And it was like no one ever heard of them. And then they were on Stern Show, and then I had heard of them. I became a fan through that. He only puts on people now that are already like bigger bands. He's not looking to break anyone.
Interesting. Ari Shaffir, would some say maybe you're just not growing up with your generation?
What do you mean?
The only thing that's hip then, from what I'm hearing, is in this millennial to, I'm on the cusp of it. I'm on the cusp of old school meets digital, meets sort of the new world, new comedians and stuff. Would some say that maybe you're just not accepting the fact that it's still cool to go see a Pearl Jam show?
No, it's okay. No, that's okay. But I mean, I don't know. Is Pearl Jam still coming out with albums?
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. I mean, you go to see a reunited band, and it's like, oh. I mean, it might be a good time to go see whatever's left of the Grateful Dead. But it ain't like seeing him at Woodstock.
Yeah.
It's not even, like, comparable.
If
Stern said I'm an irrelevant comic, you know who is relevant? Pete Holmes, Hannibal Buress, Jay Oakerson, Kurt Metzger, Bill Burr. That would hurt me. If he talks about a bunch of guys who were huge in the 90s, it's like you just don't know who the comics are.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Is it frustrating? By the way, I hate when radio guys do that, and I just did. Let me ask you a question.
Just ask, yeah.
Does it frustrate you sometimes that the popular vote doesn't kind of have their ear to the ground with what's going on?
Yeah, they talked about this in the Fountainhead. Most people won't see it. Most people have no idea. Twilight makes a bunch of money. Star Wars was kind of shitty, but it made a shitload of money. That's actually kind of because of nostalgia. But some shitty movies make a bunch of money. There's a lot of yokels around. So yeah, it's like you can't care what they say.
And when you say yokel, is that people who
with no taste?
Yeah.
No enviable taste.
Our public wants genuine.
No, everybody wants it.
How do you think more people find that than, say, what you deem as irrelevant stuff?
Okay, here's the problem, though. It's not just the genuine. That's what I like. That's what you like. So you, as an artist, will try to achieve that. But what you don't do is, hey, people are into genuineness, so I'll try to do that now. That's what fucking jobbers do, like Howard Stern, who are just in it for money. They were like, let me see what comes back.
Are you doing this to kind of poke the bear a little bit, or this is really
a thought-out opinion?
This is all full on. This is who you are.
This idea that it was over podcasts is like, no. I've shot on him on that same Rogan's podcast 7 times before for his other ideas that were like, what? Like every time his name comes up, it's like, how does he argue? He's a big guy, and you're like, oh, you're on that side of it? Like what? It's like you don't even know what you're talking about, and then you realize, oh, you're just some 62-year-old Jew. Of course you don't. It's not your fault. You're married to some lady who's changing you, so you're not the guy anymore. The first 2 years of Sopranos was great. Let's say Entourage, better example. Entourage, people got into. By the end, people were just watching it because they've been watching it. But if you started with season 5 of Entourage, you'd be like, what is this? This is not worth continuing. But
which is why most series, I guess, die after 5-6 years type of thing.
That's why people are still into Stern, where it's like, we grew up with him. But here's the deal. If you think genuineness is terrible, I don't want genuineness in what I do, then you're still an artist, and you've come up with an idea. And people can look at you because you have thoughts. You've thought it out. Not just like, what do you guys think I should do? That's irrelevant. It's not about just the genuineness. It's you deciding genuineness is a thing you want.
Does your mind ever shut off?
Yeah, sure, all the time.
Yeah.
I smoke weed. But when I get started on this
you smoke a lot.
I get passionate about it, so I fucking rarely get the chance to have conversations like this.
Okay, let's talk about the drugs.
Yeah.
You're very open about the drugs.
Yeah,
Mushrooms,
I'm open
weed,
about everything. My feeling is it's way harder to keep secrets than to keep truths.
So you got nothing to hide.
Yeah. I knew a girl, Katie, once. And that's another thing that gets me in trouble sometimes when I use names. People are like, why do you use names? Like, because I think specificity leads to genuineness, and that's a comedic theory, and I'll take the abuse.
And lucky for you, Katie was a very popular name.
Yeah. But But Katie Seabury. But she was going. She was like one of the slutty girls. You know, we all. She had sex a lot.
Sure.
I don't know why I use it twice now.
Yeah.
But
How
she had
dare
sex
you.
a lot. And then one time she said she was going on a date, and we're like, oh, and she was nervous. I'm like, why are you nervous? Like, don't you always? She goes, it's the first time I've gone on a date with somebody that I haven't already fucked. And it was just like we all laughed about it. And how can we make fun of her? There's nothing we can talk about her behind her back.
Because
When
she's open.
like, I blew some guy in the bathroom last week, and it's like, what? We didn't find out anything. It's free, and then we just treat her like an equal instead of like, oh, can you believe what Katie did?
It's easier.
Shall set you free.
Except for the fact, and this is originally what we were talking about, Ari Shaffir.
Yeah.
When you start to make some money in life,
Yeah.
and you've kind of towed a line, and there's an edge, and then you can be over the edge, but maybe not where Ari Shaffir is.
Yeah.
You really, because I was doing decent in radio, so you start to kind of wonder, like, do I let it go and just be fuck it and not care, or do I kind of hold on, make sure we're paying the mortgage, make sure my wife and kid are okay? So that's the dilemma that I finna.
How much do you make a year?
I've done all right. Like, listen, I got a home that's worth $1.5 million. Okay,
You and your wife got a car?
Yeah, we got cars. We're fine. We're not.
So at some point, like, what do you need extra money for? I mean, I know people have quit their like law firm jobs that are making like $150,000 a year for a sort of more interesting law firm job or public defense that makes 75, but they're fulfilled.
And you see them happier.
Well, I mean, you're fulfilled.
Yeah, we got to be.
And
fulfilled.
you want money because it's supposed to fulfill you. It's like, now I can go on vacation. It's like, that does a little bit for sure, but to a degree. I don't know.
Someone comes up to you, Ari Shaffir, and says, "I got a part in the movie for you."
Yeah.
And you hate the part.
I'm not doing it.
But it's $2 million.
That doesn't matter. I've already turned it down. It has nothing to do with it. I don't need that $2 million. How long? If it's shoot one day? If it shoots one day.
No, it's a 6-month shoot.
Yeah,
It's a
no
real
way.
shoot. You got to go out. You got to stop doing all the shit you're doing.
No way in hell.
Do you ever go home and worry about some of the things you said, or go, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have told that joke?
I finish podcasts sometimes and I go, that one's going to get me some heat.
Mm.
I know when I'm like, fuck.
You ever edit one before you post it?
No, I don't do that. Not for my own stuff. I only do it. I have a set of rules about it. No physical or monetary damage to anyone. So if I was doing a podcast with you right now and it came up that you said you cheated on your wife, I'll be like, yeah, that's going to hurt you. I'll take that out. But if I said, like, I don't like your hair, then no, I'm not taking that. That's just vanity.
All right. So you won't go at someone that will fuck their livelihood.
Yeah. I'm not get you fired. That's like shit like that I'll take out. But that's it.
I never cheated on my wife, by the way, and she's listening.
Okay.
Hey, babe, how you doing?
He gave me 9 winks.
Yeah. Both
he
eyes.
wouldn't stop winking.
Both eyes. Both
back
eyes.
and forth, so I got the point.
I put my fingers in his nose. I said, smell them. I said, smell my fingers. Okay, it happened on the way here. No.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your candidness.
Thank you.
And I think that's
Candor? Is it candor?
It's candidness.
Candidness. Okay.
Yeah,
What's
candor.
candor?
Maybe it's the same. Fuck, I should know this. I'm usually
I
pretty
was
good
an
with this
English
stuff.
major. I don't know.
Yeah, Jesus, too much drugs, man.
Oh yeah. You're gonna ask me about drugs. Yeah. I love 'em.
No. Oh, you're open about drugs.
Mm-hmm. I'll smoke fucking weed on the streets of Shanghai when it's punishable by death. I don't care. I'm a free American. I'll live like one.
Wow, you have a big.
Get
dick,
out of my
though.
hair.
You have a big dick, I bet.
It grows.
Okay. I have a feeling of a huge schlonger. That's part of the confidence. That's great.
Maybe girls are into it.
It's nice and straight. Would you ever do porn?
The older I get, Katie offered me once. Actually, she was working for somebody. She goes, you could put a hood on, like wear a mask, just get a blowjob, it's $500. And I was like, yeah, let me look into this. And then the job went away or something. But I was like, why not?
Hey, why are you winking at me 9 times now? Okay,
yeah.
You're some there wearing a matador mask and a gangbang.
Yeah. Shh, don't look that one up.
Do you care what you look like? Because some days you have long hair, short hair, shave, no
I care what I
shave.
look like. I like to look cool.
Yeah.
So I'll change shit. I'll go to Mohawk sometimes.
Yeah, I saw your
I'll go to,
Mohawk a bit. Yeah.
I shaved like a soccer ball in my head once, like that shape, and I just like to have fun and look cool.
How's Rogan?
Rogan's great.
The best.
Yeah, he's been a huge help. Yeah, a lot of people feel like they can get to me, but like, you're just riding his coattails. I'm like, I guess. It's like going on the Tonight Show a bunch and saying you're riding Johnny Carson's coattails. You're like, it's just guest spots.
And they help.
Way for people to see you. Yeah, and it's a fun talk with my friend.
But I would imagine, too, though.
And really what he's helped me more in is just the ability to see what it's like for a successful comic to say fuck you to everyone who tells him what to say. I mean, that, for where we're talking about today, that's a direct lineage from watching Joe handle himself.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't come to that on my own without seeing that. And hopefully I can be an example to other people.
Well, you are. I mean, I'm taking a lot in even this conversation. No, and that's me.
Nice.
Like, I'm always very open and honest. I don't
Yeah.
have to do the macho guy thing. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care. Like, if I'm learning something, to me, that's the most important thing of every conversation I have in any life, on air or off air, is learning, education. If I'm not taking something in, I'm fucking bored.
Just wasting time.
So you got to take it. Rogan's his demonstrative kind of big just stance helps too. Holy fuck,
yeah,
He's
yeah.
a beast.
Tower on stage, like just the way he delivers stuff, the knowing when to yell and when to whisper, the act outs. Yeah, he's got a presence on stage. He comes on, if you don't know who he is, people like leaving. You know, if it's 12 in the morning, you go, let me wait for one more comic. This guy seems interesting, and they'll stay and watch him. He's just got this power. His technique is fucking on point.
I was telling the boys back in Toronto, I saw Rogan for the first time, like live on at the Comedy Store just a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's exactly that. Like, I could not believe how he engaged.
Yeah.
And especially because sometimes you know, as an audience member, I think you look at comedians and the first thing that kind of strikes you with them is an appearance which will make you kind of laugh. Like, you know, they don't look. I always thought that intimidating comics might not do as well. And he's sort of an intimidating comic until he starts to talk.
Yeah.
And then he softens.
Well,
it
he
all.
knows that too. He knows that he's like looks like a jock. He even had a bit about it. It's like, I would think I'm a douchebag too. But like, so he has to overcome that. The way Silverman can rely on her cuteness.
Yeah.
And she goes, I can say some stuff. She didn't say this. I'm just putting words in her mouth. But she can say some stuff that's really horrible because people are like, all right, it's just Sarah Silverman. This is a cute woman who's saying it. And of course you should use that. You should use your looks.
Get away with it.
And Rogan has to do this thing where it's like, he also has this power where people just watch him because like, oh, who is it? He talks so confidently. But he also has this thing where it's like, fuck you, you fucking pretty tough guy. I don't want to listen to you. So he's got to like start off his material like a little bit more self-effacing.
There's a brilliant bit he does, and I won't give it away because you got to go and see him somewhere or find it in one of his specials, I'm sure, about about how women and men aren't really equal. And it's kind of that attitude you say there. Like, and he does it obviously where he still admires ladies. I don't want to give the wrong impression.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah,
so
no one's really equal.
Yeah.
You know, even tall and short's not equal. He had to overcome shit by being a fucking whatever he is, 5'6".
Is he that small?
170. I don't know what your guys is.
You
No, you guys do height, right?
Yeah, we're weird. We're fucked up because we do half metric. Yeah, you know. Actually, it was really funny. I was in an Uber and I could tell my Uber driver was trying to take me for a ride for a bigger fee, and so I just put it in my Google Maps, and it's like 2 kilometers, and he's like, "What's a kilometer?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's the differences out here. Well, Ari Shaffir, the Skeptic Tank.
Yeah,
how
my
often do you
podcast,
record?
If you guys want to check it out, it's on iTunes or on my website, arithegreat.com. You can new one pretty much every Monday.
You only follow 10 people on Twitter.
Now I follow more because I'm following all the people in my show as they come out with like stories.
No,
my
you
show.
only follow 10.
No,
I just
usually
looked,
it's 0 or 1.
Yeah, it's 10 now. I looked.
Right
I
now
looked
it's 10.
like
So every time every new episode of my show.
Okay.
So 3 more people will be on it. So I just follow 3 more people.
Will you
today.
follow me for a day?
No.
Come on.
No, I get too caught up in that Twitter stuff. All my friends are like, why don't you follow me? I'm like, then I'm following nobody.
You have the best ratio. I mean, your ratio is unbelievable.
Yeah. Usually I follow nobody. Lately I've been following only Eric Snowden.
Okay, yes, no, fuck. What
And
a genius.
yeah, and then now, a few more people because of the show. But then after the show ends, I'll just delete them all.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah.
Do you help? I mean, when you do that, do you help get them followers? You know,
Maybe. I just want to know if people like who I don't know. I just feel people like all the people I follow.
Not to digress, but when you went through that stuff with Stern, did you get more downloads? No,
0.
It
the
didn't.
idea that I will gain notoriety by him talking about me comes from a time in 1987 when he was that powerful.
So it didn't actually do anything?
I looked up. I mean, you look at your numbers for your downloads.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't anymore. I try not to. But
Yeah, I'll look once in a while. Not the rankings because that's like comparing yourself to other people, but like.
Do you know how those rankings work? One day I'm
it's
8,
a
and one
crazy
day I'm
algorithm.
fucking.
It's based on like new subscribers with comments and ratings.
I think
It ain't based
searches
on
are even
downloads.
in there.
Yeah, this is what I knew was a sham. Chelsea Peretti had the #1 podcast on iTunes for like a week and a half, and she had 0 episodes.
Oh my God, that's
She
a
just
good. That's a
registered it.
good
And I was
giveaway
like,
right
so
there.
what do you mean this is the highest rated one? She hasn't even recorded a second of podcast yet.
I heard some guys switch servers just to kind of get it
sure,
fresh
there's
again,
that.
so they rank
So
higher.
to me,
again.
it's like I just want more people listening. It doesn't matter how many other people are doing. Anyway, so I looked at all my numbers, and the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Stern is exactly identical to that week, the week after, the week. There's no like you're gonna bump for me talking about you. Like nobody's researching every word you say. You fucking idiot. God, you self-absorbed moron. It's not even his fault. He's too big for too long. He doesn't have a realistic view of the world. He drives in his limo from his mansion to his office. He doesn't even know what the neighborhood looks like. It's not his fault. He's no longer relevant. He hasn't seen what a subway looks like. He talks about the subway, and he's just guessing from 1970. He has no clue.
It defends him. They haven't. I don't think they've changed much.
Yeah.
Maybe the ads
They're
on
way nicer now.
more. Yeah, still same amount of puke in them though.
Yeah. There's some homeless subway cars. It's the worst when you go like, oh, this one's empty, and you go and you're like, oh, this is why. There's like 3 homeless people that piss themselves on it, and you're like, ugh.
You ever have sex in one, like Risky Business?
No, I want to though.
Where's a dangerous place you had sex, Ari Shaffir?
Done in the trunk of a car in a garage.
Was she alive?
Yeah. We just needed some place to go. Yeah, I was almost did it like in some house being built down in Venice. We're like, let's sneak in and just fuck. But I pussed out. The girl was way into it, and I was like, I don't know.
Do you worry about being caught in those situations because of some of the the fame and all that?
No. I was worried the same way I'm worried about fucking at a party in a bathroom. Like, people are gonna know when I get out.
Oh, it's just more of that.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with who I am.
Yeah,
I don't worry about any of that. When I talk to my friends and tell them, like, gotta get on Tinder, like, I'm a celebrity. I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess, but who cares if they know you're on Tinder? It's a fine site. They're on too. That's why they found you.
It's true. You remember in the day when people wouldn't even really give up their cell phone numbers in entertainment? Yeah. I was like, I just give mine up on air.
Just give it out. Just give it out.
You got to give it out. Well, Ari, I think, 2 hours you sat in here. You came in here on crutches, and I hope you heal better. You did that as a skiing accident. Canadians, we love our skiing and snowboarding.
Whistler, eh?
Yeah, Whistler. Oh, right on. Are you right on? Eh? We're not all. Though I do say a lot.
Yeah.
You're healing okay? You're feeling better?
Yeah, I'm healing okay. It doesn't hurt that much. Just annoying.
You can still fuck.
Fine.
You still bring
fuck.
it.
Yeah, it's just harder.
Where can people go and find you?
Go to my website, arithegreat.com, or you can go to me on Twitter or Instagram at Ari Shaffir, 2 Fs. Check out my podcast. And if you want to watch those, I guess most of your listeners are in Canada, so those YouTube things are down. But if you want to watch 65, 68 stories that are on YouTube, awesome stories from awesome comedians, use this app called BetterNet, and it somehow goes around geo-blocking. It's free, and you can watch everything on there, on your phone and your computer. Anytime you get geo-blocked, use this thing, BetterNet. I'll always promote a free, awesome app, and this one does it. So, Canadians, it's your friend.
Go and get it.
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of shit that's blocked in Canada that sucks.
Yeah, I never understood that.
I'm 20 miles north of the city I'm allowed to get it in, and now I can't get it? Why? You get the same TV shows.
It's that fucking wall. It's that wall. Fuck, we didn't even get into politics. Yeah. Jay, how long do I have? 2-3 minutes here? What do we have?
3 minutes.
About 3 minutes. We don't think we have time to. Okay, let's do 1 minute of politics.
I don't care. The system is broken. The only way to change stuff is through violence.
Like the Purge?
Sort of like the Purge. People could bring that up. I haven't seen it, but it's mostly like you got to get rid of the politicians, and you got to get Obama doesn't even react when there's a police shooting of a black man unless there's a riot, and then he goes, "We have to have calm. Let's look at the system. You need violence in order to have change."
Which is what's happened in the world. Yeah, I mean that's what's happening.
The Arab
everywhere.
Spring, and it's like, guess what? The only way to change shit here, our regime is no different than their regime. The people in power, their businesses own it. The only way to change it is through violence. I'm hoping that I'm wrong and there's a peaceful solution to it. But as people become more disillusioned, and as the government refuses to hear them, there's only one way. That's the only way it ever happens.
So you're not condoning it. You're just worried that it might happen.
I'm worried. I'll lose friends over it. But I think in my lifetime there'll be an armed, violent revolution.
I actually think that too.
Yeah, I think people are already planning it, and I'm rooting for them. I just won't participate.
Too much of a pussy. No.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the government puts their guns down. It comes down to the army. Is the army going to turn their weapons on the American public, or are they going to say, "Hey, I'm not doing this"?
You should write a movie with this, but throw in some comic diversions.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, a funny version of that. Yeah, I play it out in my mind, and it scares me every time.
Yeah,
I don't see a way around it.
Huh?
Yeah, more and more people have less and less money.
How do we end on a positive note?
I don't know.
I got to thank my sponsors.
Positive. Revolution's positive. And guess what? In the new world, there'll be pizza, and it'll be delicious.
Ari Shaffir.
The Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Laughs, SiriusXM Channel 168.
This is Jay Brody, The Todd Shapiro Show. Every single day we'll be putting up a new video where we want your comments on today's biggest stories. We're going to read your comments and your handles live on the air, The Todd Shapiro Show, on SiriusXM Channel 168. And don't forget to subscribe now to our YouTube channel. Subscribe! Subscribe! Now! Hit the button! Do it! Do it! Do it now! Do it! Right there! Do it! Do it now! Subscribe! Quick! Quick, quick, quick! Hit the button! Hit the button! Hit the button! Go, 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 go! Go now! 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 Now!